why we're so quiet
We're
now.
like, don't say anything. Well, welcome, groupies. This is your host, Lindsay Knapp. We're on Let's Talk About It, episode number 7, if we can believe it. And we've got some very special guest humans today. We've got on my left, we have
Elise.
And on my right,
Jody.
And today we are going to be talking about weird voodoo things. No, just kidding. We're going to be talking about Ayurveda, Reiki, and all kinds of fun energy practices. How would we categorize that? So, energy practices. I don't.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah. Like managing your energy work.
Yeah.
Energy journeys and things.
Yeah. So we're going to start off by introducing our special guest today, Jody. Jody, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm Jody. I just kind of consider myself a journey partner, honestly, because I help people either find their path or maybe maintain their path. And I'm just their biggest cheerleader on this journey. So
I love that.
I am a partner in crime.
Oh, I like
Who
that.
doesn't need
I want
right?
a partner in crime.
You have one.
I do.
At least one. So yeah, I just help people find if they're not sure what their path is, or they know that like something doesn't feel right. Sometimes that's all. Like something just doesn't feel right. I just feel off. So, we get together and we just kind of help weed out what doesn't feel off, and that kind of leaves you with 1 or 2 or 20 things that might be, what we want to look at and start to work on.
Oh, I love how you said that, because I think when people think of I don't know what people think when they think of Ayurveda or Reiki, or energy, but I imagine a lot of people think it's like something weird and hokey, but like how you just described what you're doing is you're like, no, we're just going to talk about you, find out what works, what doesn't work, and then we're just going to go with what works. We're going to follow it. So that doesn't sound hokey at all. That sounds like very, very smart.
Right. It's like, exactly. Like sometimes we think we know what's off, or we think we know what needs attention, and that is not it. So there's trial and error. It's life. It's just like, this is a journey, which I know that kind of sounds corny and it's just so cliche, but it's so true that we literally are on this journey, and our paths can change or whatever. But we're going to try something, and if that doesn't work, we're going to go try something different, and then we're going to keep trying stuff. And then some of it works and some of it doesn't, and so we just keep adjusting. And we don't so much worry about the destination. We just think about what's happening now, and we have fun with it, and we laugh, and we crack up, and we mess up, and we just do our best. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about Ayurveda first or Reiki first?
Let's talk about Ayurveda first.
All right.
So,
Tell what is Ayurveda?
So it's a thousands of year old like a holistic health. It's like the oldest holistic health. Hold on.
Please
Practice.
hold. Please hold.
There we go. I see. Okay, yeah. So it believes that the entire universe is composed of 5 elements. So everything in the universe is made of 5 elements. So air, water, space or ether, earth, and fire. And so it's one of, like I mentioned, one of the world's oldest holistic healing systems, and developed over 3,000 years ago in India. And it's just based on the belief that health and wellness depend on a very delicate balance between the body and the mind and spirit. So it's not just a physical health or a physical working out. What do I look like? It's that everything is made up of these elements, and if we can figure out what elements we're made up of, how our body works best versus the seasons are made up, they follow the same energy. Our personalities, the time of day, all follows this same idea. And so if we can start to figure out what our constitutional makeup or our dosha, what our elements are, then we can help to understand, maybe look at our habits that we've got, our eating habits, our activity habits, our attitude habits, our work habits, sleeping habits, and then we can start to make some adjustments to fall a little more in line with how our body feels best.
Yeah, instead of going against what is maybe best for you. And that's something I appreciate about Ayurveda, is that it's so very much tailored to the human, and it's not like a one size fits all thing. It's not like a like when I see, like, just using like diet, for example, like when you see there's like the keto diet or the paleo diet or the whatever Mediterranean diet, there's all these like diets out there, but depending on how you're mapped, right? Earth, fire, water, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
One diet might be very, like a keto diet might be bad, not
Like
very, very
detrimental.
not good for somebody with a certain type of body, but it may be absolutely excellent for somebody with a different kind.
Right.
So, and I think that's why, like, just using diets as an example, why there so many work and so many don't work, right? Because they legitimately don't work for certain humans, but they legitimately do work for others. And then if you're the human it doesn't work for, then you might go into a spiral, like that's like it's something wrong with me, right? You're like, I followed it, Susie over there lost 30 pounds and I'm over here gaining 20 pounds, but I'm literally doing the same thing, but it's just because they haven't checked in with how their body is mapped. And that's what I'm hearing you saying Ayurveda does, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So then we start to cast judgments on ourselves.
Yeah.
Then we start to think that all these judgments and these habits say something about our self-worth, and they don't. It just means, oh, okay, I am having a lot of meat and my body doesn't actually react so great with meat, but oh my gosh, that steak is so good. Also, as a guide, a coach, a journey partner, I would say, if you really want that steak, have that steak, because nothing's off hands, nothing's off, It's not like there's right and wrong. Just, I know if I eat a certain food, my body's not going to feel super great, and sometimes I'm like, cheesecake makes me happy today, so that's okay. Also, I'm going to be very mindful later, But right now,
I will be hovering over a location that will allow this to pass.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's 3 doshas. So there's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And so depending on your makeup, you've got either, so for example, Vata is air and space. And the Pitta is fire and water, and Kapha is water and earth. So depending on, what your makeup is, you are going to notice so for example, Vata, air and space, the characteristics are light and dry and rough and usually cold. So if you are a Vata constitution and you eat a lot of crackers are dry, crackers are rough, right? Well, your body constitution is dry and rough, like dry skin, maybe dry eyes, something like that. And if you're eating foods that are dry, I love a cracker. Okay, I love one. But if I eat too many, still, that's not going to work best for some people. So like equals like. So that's big in Ayurveda. Like equals like. If you are eating the foods that your body's characteristics are dry, and you're eating a lot of dry foods, probably not going to feel so good. And you can be out of balance. And we can talk about that. We can touch on that, or we definitely talk about that during a visit if a client comes in. So if you then want to eat things that are not dry and not rough, so maybe some warm soup, maybe some oatmeal. So that helps to keep you in balance, and that's just obviously a very generic, idea, but that's pretty much how it works. And then there's also the doshas so we all have usually 1 or 2 prominent doshas. So we're born with what's called our prakriti. So that's what we are born with actually at conception. Our body becomes is that this is our constitution, and that doesn't change through your life. So as we go through life, we become imbalanced because we're humans, right? So we do things and have habits and or just live daily life and become out of balance. So that's very common. So as you become out of balance, typically as an adult, that's called your Vrikriti. So that is basically your imbalance. So when you come in for a visit, the first visit is we will do some intake, we will do some questionnaires. We might do 2 questionnaires. We'll do one of how you felt most of your life growing up, and then how do you feel now? And that will help us to determine where your imbalance is. So I was born Pitta, little bit of Kapha is my second. So, it's pretty, not quite even, but, pretty high up there. Well, right now, I've been through some things called life, and I am really heavy on the Vata side. So, and I feel it, my skin is dry, my eyes are dry, my hair is dry, I'm anxious, like you get gassy because Vata is air, Vata is wind, Vata has to do with digestion, so... Yeah. So I can, right. So now in order for me to get back more to the Pitta side, it's, finding that balance and now changing my habits or being more aware and trying to not do things that are going to create more Vata in my body.
Like hydrating,
Like I said, I was not kidding when I said I love a cracker. I love a cracker. So, I mean, that's
a bunch of crackers sitting around here. Sorry, I mean, somebody had to say it. Elise excluded. You're a bird cracker.
I was thinking like Jody wants a cracker, like a pirate.
Jody does want a cracker. I'm proud of the crackers. So I've got to think about if I want to be in balance with my body and feel in harmony with my whole self. Here's what I got to do. And so I realized that. But again, this is my career. This is my journey, my passion. Still, this shows that, still, even though I know what I'm doing here, I am still coming out of balance. This happens. And so finding a partner in crime is a great way to do it. And we can just help, hold each other accountable, or we can help just to see where those are. And then the client, the person, or me, when I'm here talking to myself, decides what feels right. What are you okay? What changes are you okay with now? And eventually we just start to crowd out what's not working. As I mentioned earlier, we just start to crowd it out or try to maybe add one habit. And this is in life. This isn't just specific to Ayurveda. But in life, if we can, instead of like beating yourself up, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm eating all these crackers. Then, well, maybe I will do something else. And maybe I'm still going to have some crackers, but I will also have something warm and something to help get me back into my constitutional balance. And so rather than beating ourselves up over what we're doing wrong, we start to try to make change that is helpful, and then eventually the other one just started kind of take the background. And
I mean, it sounds like the best holistic health ever, and I suppose that since it's been going on for eons,
so long,
that I feel like they have perfected their craft at this point, right? Like so hopefully this takes some of the woo woo away from the thing, but talk more about the 3 doshas, if you will. So like, what are like some of the signatures of each 3? And then so that way people can be like, oh, that's me. Because when I learned about the 3 doshas, I was like, well, shit. Because I was like, I should be doing X, Y, and Z. But I was like, no, I shouldn't. That's bad for my dosha. That's good for the other dosha. I was listening to what everybody should tell me to do. So and that's bullshit. So I feel like the world needs to hear about the 3 doshas. Not necessarily in detail, but like like what are the strongest suits of the 3, so that way people can be like, because they're so different too.
So different.
And
So
and a pitta can't be a vata, and a vata can't be a kapha. I mean, they can overlap, but like
right, and so very
you know.
rarely it does happen, but rarely there's a tridoshic person who is literally balanced in all three. And oh my gosh, who doesn't want to be that?
I know,
right?
right?
Like how
I have not yet to meet this
I need
human,
this
but I
person
would like
in
to
my
meet them.
life.
Super like elevated, like they float.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, they don't walk; they just float. They
just-
levitate into
Yeah.
the space.
Amazing. So yeah, sometimes there is a tridoshic person, but right, I haven't seen one. Feel free to let us know if you're that person.
Contact us. We would love to talk to you.
For sure. So vata is some physical characteristics. Usually are darker hair, thinner bones, little smaller frame. Again, like I said, light and dry, cold, nervousness. Like you might feel anxious and nervous.
I always think of a typical, or not typical, like in the United States, a stereotypical yoga body is a vata almost
Sure.
always.
I can think back to some of my teachers and think, oh,
you know,
yep,
like
yep.
not that they all are, but like, you know, if people are listening, whatever that stereotypical Instagram body is, I always think of that when I think of vata.
Yeah.
And my dad would call them carrot eaters because they just all they do is eat carrots.
You're not wrong,
You know,
Dad.
But I guess I think it's raw foods go really well with their digestive system, right? The
Right,
vatas.
but then the cold carrot is like, oh, I don't know, that's kind of crunchy, you know. So
Oh,
you gotta be
yeah,
careful with
okay,
that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
Kids love big sweaters during the fall and winter time.
Yeah.
It's so cold.
yeah, and like maybe a sharp nose, you know, like just
okay,
sharp,
yeah.
and then like smaller eyes. Like I can look at a I can look at a person, and it's not across the board, but have a pretty good idea. Like, so Lindsay, you have big, beautiful blue eyes. You're blonde, maybe not today, but you're blonde. I'm thinking kapha, at least partially.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I'm definitely a kapha,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for sure.
And so you know, there's those characters. A lot of, like I said, anxiousness, nervousness, very like busy, like very
Yeah.
busy person. Also, the time of day for vata is 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So
Is there
those are,
peaks?
That's vata time. Yeah.
Oh, God
Yeah.
bless them.
Yeah. No, so that's the time. So that doesn't mean you, Lindsay, you need to be up doing your
Oh no,
workout
I'm
at that time.
not
No,
I'm
no,
a
no.
kapha. No,
But
they can keep that.
So what that means, that doesn't mean that a vata should be up at these times. That means that's the time of day where it's cold, where it's, you know,
okay.
so it can be bitter cold out. So you think about the, you know, like the morning time, the 2 to 6 a.m.
So are they morning people?
I don't know. It might just depend. So ideally, most of us would be morning people, because then from vata goes, well, here, I'll just kind of stay in line. So then we go to, so, and then the vata, squirrels for me too, all day, every day. So, and then the vata season is early fall to midwinter. So you can think about like,
okay,
you know, it's
Yeah.
windy, it's getting very cold, the leaves are falling. Again,
Oh God, that is that like pumpkin spice
is.
latte yoga Instagram human. Okay,
Yeah.
I hit
Yeah,
that one
yeah.
on the head.
I may or may not have pumpkin spice in here. Also, I'm not really a vata, but look at me with all the vata things. Here we go. And I'm not mad about it right now. So yeah, the season is early fall to midwinter. And then there's pitta, which is their main constitution is fire and water, which, you know, that checks out with me. If you look into my past, yeah, that checks out. Characteristics are oily and hot. So we get hot. We are very active also.
Or maybe you're our trifecta.
She's our
We're gonna get through it. I know you
tridosha.
might be. We're gonna see at the end.
Uh-oh. And you're salty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, fluid, just we're moving a lot, we're keeping busy. Salty and sour, pungent are some of the tastes, or the attitude characteristics maybe. Little pungent, little salty.
Mike is a pitta, and I'm like, yep, checks
Checks
out.
out.
Carry on, keep going.
Go on with your pitta self. Oh my gosh, yeah, me too.
That's funny because she married probably someone like me, Kapha,
Yeah.
right? And I married someone like her, Pitta.
That's so funny.
We are soul sisters
We
for
are.
sure. Oh my gosh. So
Oh.
the season for Vata is late spring, summer, and early fall. So very hot, right?
Yeah.
So we tend to run hot,
Mhm.
which makes sense
Oh,
for
Mike
our
is
conversation
always,
earlier.
yeah, Mike's always sweating.
And yeah, so if you think about late spring, we're starting to very transformative. So that's that all checks out.
Like get the most energy during that time. Like, with,
Yeah.
like the whole spring cleaning, like the change of seasons, it's time to garden.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Just a very transformative time.
Mhm.
Transitioning from the seasons. And then the time of day is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you think about that. That's usually, what do they say? Like me, you see how tan I'm not. I can just tell you, my dermatologist was like, girl, I'm not even kidding. You need to stay out of the sun. Period. She didn't even say during the meantime. She's like, you need to stop. I'm like, can you not tell I stay out of the sun? I'm translucent, people. So anyway, sorry,
It's
sidebar.
the cracker. Moving it back.
Yeah, that's right.
You're eating too many crackers. Sorry, carry on.
Love them crackers. Oh my gosh. So time of day is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So if you think about, again, the hottest time of the day, like I've heard people say, stay out of the heat. Don't go working out during the hot, 10 to 2. My mom would be like, don't go to the pool from 10 to 2. And that's the hottest time of the day, ideally, right? The sun is at its peak. The pitta is at its peak. so yeah, so that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then the kapha, the characteristics: cold, wet, very grounded. Yeah, you are so grounded. I tell you, like as if I have to tell you, right? My husband is so grounded. Salty. That checks out.
At times. Yep.
Just kidding. And so kapha's made of fire and water. And the seasons for kapha are midwinter, late spring. So heavy, wet, snow, depending on where you're from.
Yeah.
The time of day is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So if you think about it, have you kind of really you know me in my roundabouts, going way back to forever ago when I was just talking about the time of like ideally we would all be morning people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because kapha time starts at 6 a.m. and kapha time it's a heavy time. It's a groggy time, right? So think about, I'm sure that at least we here, probably a few more people, have slept in, perhaps, and really had a hard time getting up. And really, oh my gosh, I got 10 hours of sleep last night. How am I groggy?
Yeah.
So kapha time is 6 to 10 a.m. And so it's a heavy time. It's a time where we are not, probably at our best. We got coffee in the morning for a reason, right? So
that's so true.
Yeah, exactly. So and then like getting the munchies maybe at 10 p.m. when ideally we'd kind of be going to bed because we're about to get into that Vata time where, that 10 to 2, or excuse me, the Pitta time 10 to 2. So we're trying to just work with the clock, nature, we're just trying to get it all. If we look around, we'll see the landscape has doshas. Everything has a dosha. Landscape, our personalities, our bodies, just the times of day, the times of the year, everything is made of these elements. So once we can start to figure out, how this affects our life, these energetic forces, affect our life, then we can start to understand how, if we can tune into the natural rhythms of the world, the universe, the day, the food, then we can help that work with us instead of, without knowing. I mean, none of us are at fault. I mean, if you know, right? And until you know, you don't know. And so if we can all start to tune in to how these forces affect everything around us, we can try to work with it.
Yeah.
And so that's where that journey, so say, somebody comes in and they're like, oh my gosh, I there's no way I'm getting out of bed before 8 a.m. There's no way. Like, okay, you're going to be groggy. Okay, can we try something in another area of your life?
Yeah.
If you're just like, I'm not ready to give that up. And then sometimes, miraculously, what happens when you start following different habits, making different habits, then suddenly it's like just naturally you start to maybe wake up earlier. Your body starts to sink into these time frames when we start to pay attention and become really in tune with what's going on around us.
Giving up caffeine did that for me when I gave up caffeine and sugar. I remember there was a period I naturally woke up at 5 a.m. Like just naturally. It was great.
Yeah. That's a great time. 5:30 a.m. Can we get up at 5:30 a.m.?
Yeah.
That's kind of rough, but yeah.
But it's so funny you say that because, like, I know when I was working, I had a hard time getting to work on time. Like, it didn't matter what I did, I would just struggle getting to work on time. Like, I could not.
Yeah.
Before giving up caffeine and sugar.
Or just in general, because, like, you have to get there by, like, 7:30 a.m. And it was just so hard for me to, like, want to wake up and then get ready and just get there because I was just slow or distracted. But that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So the one question I had about the Ayurveda practice, I remember learning in teacher training, was like, maybe getting too ahead of myself, like the practice with the oil, like, is it oil pulling?
Oh, so there's a massage, but you're talking about like literally rinsing your mouth with maybe coconut oil or sesame oil or something like that.
Yeah.
You look terrified. You look like you are not ready to go do that right now.
Yeah, because like, I remember like when it was explained to me, I'm like, ew. Like, it just doesn't taste good, but okay, tell me more. But it just, I don't know. I think mentally I probably wasn't ready to like understand it. It was just hard for me to understand because it was like something different. And I was just like,
You're like, I'm going to rinse with coconut oil, like a lot. We're going to start out with a lump of coconut oil. Is that what you were using, coconut oil?
Well, I think it was like, it was coconut oil. I think she mentioned olive oil too. But yeah, she would like gargle with it. And then she would like, wipe her body
massage,
with it. Yeah. It's totally good. I use coconut oil. It's great on your skin.
Absolutely.
But because oil just doesn't have a great taste to it.
Right, exactly.
But I'm probably ahead of myself about that.
No. I mean, we can talk about it right now. So yeah, oil pulling it helps to get the like toxins out of your body. So also, if you like coconut oil, can help whiten your teeth. So hey, I mean, I'm all about that. So yeah, but that's something that and so sesame oil is typically a really nice oil to like, it's very beneficial, except for like kapha should be kind of careful with sesame oil because again, like not everything works for everybody, right? Yeah. So we can be preaching like, oh my gosh, sesame oil is the best thing ever, and then Lindsay's like, well, hang on a minute, that's not for me.
So even depending on your dosha, you should use a specific oil or
possibly. Yeah, possibly. So
so like I'm a kapha, and so my constitution does best with cooked vegetables as opposed to raw vegetables. So the same, so like a salad sounds like a healthy meal, and not that I can't eat salads, but like I should eat salads in moderation.
Yeah. Because digestion is slower. Kapha is slow and steady and grounded.
So like,
I'm like an elephant.
The
best looking elephant.
Such a cute
kale and kale chips would be good for you then because they're cooked.
It's got too much oil. So like my jam is like collards. Like
collard greens.
Just like a real like deep green.
Yeah.
But it's been cooked. The life has been cooked out of it.
Just sitting there like, I'm already dead. You might as well eat me.
Well, because I used to eat a lot of cooked zucchini, but zucchini is not good for my system. And even though it's cooked, just zucchinis in general, they're not so agreeable with it. But that's like a healthy food. And that's what I like people to kind of see. Like sometimes you're eating like quote unquote healthy, but it doesn't work. Right. And so like a pitta is also typical, not always, but one of their characteristics is also that they're like strong, like and muscular. And they also have to eat all the time. So like a kapha like me can fast. Fasting is very, very agreeable to my system. And so I can just go. But if a pitta has missed a meal, just
know about
heaven help us all. Like just throw some crackers at it from a safe direction.
Give me the crackers.
Because Mike's a pitta, and I am like, if this man misses like any meal, like so people, so like the diet, quote unquote, that asks you to eat like 5 meals a day is excellent for a pitta. But I tried that, and I gained a ton of weight eating 5, but like 5 small meals a day. And I was like, what the hell, man? I'm doing it. I'm only eating. I'm counting my calories, but my body was like, this is some bullshit. But if I could eat like 1 or 2, like kind of big meals,
it's like perfect.
In a smaller window.
Yeah.
My body loves it.
Fasting works for you.
Oh yeah. And then I just noticed like my brain function is like I'm able to perform optimally. My body is happy. My mind is happy. I'm sleeping better.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's just like holy cow. Well, how about that? So, and so that is so interesting. It is. And then like I see people. This is, we'll get some hate mail for this one, but I feel like some people are vegan that don't have the correct constitution to be vegan,
right?
Or vegetarian, even like some people because of their constitution need some higher protein.
Oh, so it's like they don't have the right balance of nutrients.
Right, and I can see that when I meet somebody who's vegan or vegetarian, but their like health is out of whack. You know what I mean? Because some people, it jives beautifully with their system, and they're just like, But then there's some people where I'm like, you just look at them and you're like, like they're walking with a limp. You know what I'm saying? Like you could just tell like their body is not like in harmony.
Yeah.
But they may think that they're in harmony because they are following a quote unquote healthy diet, but that healthy diet may not be suited for their constitution.
On paper, it looks so good.
Right, it does,
so
right?
Good on
like,
paper. And then your body. I try. So
it's
when
like, nope, out the door.
When I'm in balance, I am, like I said, I'm a pitta when I'm in balance, and I'm not kidding. If I don't eat, like I will just, I don't have to tell you.
Yeah, I know. It's all right though.
Like I don't even need like a full meal. Like it's not big meals, like I'm not having steak and potatoes and whatever every meal. But it literally, and my husband and son cracked. They're like, Mom, what is up with you? How you're just eating like a handful of almonds and you're good. Like, oh, here's my 5 almonds. Trust me, I do. I go overboard. But sometimes all you need is just something to keep up, And so if I'm missing one of my 5 meals, oh yeah, you're gonna know it. Oh yeah, I think Pitta invented hangry. I do.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
I believe
we're
that.
responsible.
Yeah. Mike cannot think straight when he is not. If he's even a little bit hungry, I'm just like, honey, I'm going to be another hour till we can eat dinner. I said, have a snack.
Yeah,
I
need you to have
a snack. I'm like, I cannot.
All you can think about is food. It's wild. And then like you get more anxious and excited because you're like, oh my God, it's there. It's almost there. I can smell it. Like,
then can you imagine asking that person to fast? Like to do the intermittent fasting? Like you might as well just be asking them to put a gun to their head because that's what it probably feels like. They're like.
Absolutely.
They're getting the shakes, like they're cranky and irritable. Like, it's not.
I need a yogurt or even a smoothie or a green juice or something, just something in the body. And I tried to be vegan too, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be my bet that
my body was like, girlfriend, we are getting a burger on the way to this vegan situation.
Yeah. Pitta, I imagine like the CrossFit body. Like if we're going to go stereotypes again, like, Vata is your yogi, your Pitta is your CrossFit human, and then your Vatas are like our thick women. And our thick men, our kaphas. Yeah, kaphas. Our kaphas are like the ones that our moms called us big boned. But we're beautiful. Like we're thick. We got the hips.
My mom's family's German, so I just think of like my sturdy grandma. Just
I'm
German
like, heck,
woman.
And I ain't mad about it. I'm like, I'm big and beautiful, baby.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah, like as we're talking about this, I'm trying to think because yeah, I went vegan and it was really good for me. And I remember when like I was eating clean a while back. It was plant based. It wasn't like vegan, so I still like ate the meat and stuff. But I had like a salad, and I felt great.
Yeah.
Like I felt aligned. I had my green juice aligned. It was great. Sauteed kale.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff.
Fruit, so good. So does fruit like rub you the wrong way?
So right now, I didn't do fruit for a while, and I'm starting to introduce it back. And so my body is very, very happy with, like, I'll fast, and then I'll break the fast with fruit.
Okay, yeah.
And so then for me, I can't eat fruit. To perform optimally, I can't eat fruit with anything else.
Yeah.
I have to have it by itself, and then I can't eat for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So that way the fruit has all the time to digest. I can absorb all the nutrients, and then I can have another different meal.
Because I think that's what you're supposed to do with intermittent fasting. You're supposed to break the fast with fruit, like something super healthy, because your body is like absorbing all those nutrients and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I can't really do bananas or like more like dense fruit, like that. Not that I can't, but like to perform optimally, like water-based fruits, like watermelon. Watermelon, apples, all the berries, all the dark berries are good with my constitution. My constitution just loves dark berries.
Yeah.
So a lot of water-based nutrients.
Yeah.
All I want in life is watermelon and world peace.
Right?
Is that too much? Is that? No. But I mean, so we don't have to get too much into food combining right now, but that's true. Like food combining, period. Fruit, for the most part,
should never be combined. Yeah. I didn't want to speak for everyone, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure it probably is the same, but you know.
Right.
At your own risk.
Kathas need minimal fruit. 10% of your diet is typically.
I don't need it at all, but I'm enjoying it right now. Though it's the summer, you know.
So Jody, if I was a client, like a new client coming in, and I was just like, I just feel blah. How would you, like, with the Ayurveda practice, like, help me as a new client figure out how to get more aligned? Like, it was okay to walk through us.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So you'd obviously come in, or we'd meet on the computer or phone, or however we're gonna meet. And then we'll do some intake. So, of course, get to know each other and just kind of talk about you a little bit. And just, I'm going to start to really pay attention to what you're telling me that your day looks like, or your week, or, whatever, typical at least day. What does that look like? And then after talking a little bit about that, typically we'll move on to a questionnaire. And that's where we were talking earlier about finding our prakriti versus our vikriti, right? So our constitutional makeup at conception, and then where we are now, and then we're going to see where the gaps are and start. And the questionnaire is questionnaire, so it's not like exact. So if the questionnaire is saying, Elise, you're Vata, and you're like, well, but I feel like this, then I'm going to believe you over the paper, right? Okay. So then that's where we just start to talk about, a little bit more into detail about how you feel, and then we'll talk about what your goals are. I'll let you know, of course, what I'm finding on paper, and then you'll either agree or disagree or something in the middle. And then we'll start to just see, like, okay, we'll lay it out. Like, okay, here's what we've got. Here's our buffet. Here's our menu of things. What seems like it could potentially be helpful for you right now, or what seems possible, right? Okay. And just because you're saying today it seems possible, it seems like I could really cut down my fruit intake, for example. Well, you know what? Again, it's watermelon season. Maybe you were just kidding. Maybe you really don't want to cut that fruit intake. So we're going to just do our best. We're going to lay it out. We're going to look at all the options, and then come up with some sort of a plan. Okay. And we'll go from there. So we'll make a plan.
What will be in that plan? Like, would it just be like, because we talked about like time of day and diet and stuff. Would those things be in there too? Like, oh, try waking up at this time of the day?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we would talk about sleeping habits, activity habits, For a kapha really needs, their body needs some pretty heavy physical activity, right?
Okay.
Is that true, Lindsay?
Oh, yeah,
like,
for
do
sure.
you need to go run and sweat? And
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why I hated yoga at first.
you
Maybe you didn't know that. I hated yoga.
But you liked hot yoga.
Yeah, right.
Because it's more intense.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's all coming together, isn't it? It's all
Yep.
coming together.
I'm a kapha, and I'm like an elephant. I gotta carry stuff.
Yeah.
I can't just be carrying a
Exactly.
feather. That's
You would
stupid.
like CrossFit. You would love CrossFit.
Well, that's a pitta.
Or weightlifting. Like
Yeah.
heavy.
Just like high intensity workouts, like
Yeah.
the Shaun T thing.
What's it called? Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah.
All that.
But yeah, so for Lindsay, like her, or not just for Lindsay, not that I'm picking on Lindsay, but a kapha,
No,
they're
pick
kind
on
of
me.
static, right?
Mhm.
They are very happy, typically chilling out, like, oh, let's just, like, I could sit on the couch all day or sleep or whatever, like
Mhm.
it's very easy to fall into that if you're a
Yeah.
kapha. And so again, like equals like, so if you do that,
Yeah, you'll be
you
static.
are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kapha needs
Because we're already big
the
girls.
opposite.
We're gonna be real big.
Oh,
So-
okay.
I mean,
so
she's not
kapha
wrong though.
needs
I
to
do
go-
like me a couch.
Yeah.
Kapha needs to go and do it.
Yeah.
Right. So, like possibly with a kapha, maybe you're not going to get the physique that you want just by changing the way you eat.
Mhm.
You've got to have that
Exercise.
like some good activity
Yeah, good
in order.
activity.
You got to have both together.
Okay.
As where maybe a pitta or a vata doesn't need that.
Mhm.
So they need yoga or something a little more calming, meditation. So sorry, sidebar.
Probably
You know me.
vatas are drawn to yoga because they're anxious, and so yoga helps like
And they're so
manage
busy.
that anxiousness. Yeah,
Yeah.
it gives them a time to like just sit on their mat and be mindful.
Which is that
Yeah.
easy to do? No.
No,
Not if you're not used to it. So
Yeah.
again, it's easy for a vata to now say, well, because again, I am a pitta, like my prakriti is pitta kapha, and I am heavy vata right now.
Mhm.
So if you couldn't tell by all the wind coming out of my face right now, all my talking.
It's all right. You just came from high elevation, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
It's easier
Such
to
a template.
breathe and talk, so like your body's like, oh my gosh,
This is amazing. There's so much, there's so much oxygen right now. So a vata exactly it's easy for the vata is busy. It's like nervous energy, and not that vatas walk around just like those cat, like a typical crazy like cat cartoon with the hair and the everything.
Crazy cat
standing on
lady.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all vatas are like that, but if you can kind of have that image, like they're busy. It's just lots of energy. So to find something that counters that, because it's easy to stay in that. It's just like a vata. It's easy to stay in a vata state.
It's like, so vata would enjoy. Tell me if this like a treadmill desk. Those those desks, and they're like walking, and they're while they're able to like do work and
'Cause they're
stuff
busy.
like that because they're busy,
Yeah.
right? Whereas like a kapha would enjoy. Oh no, a pitta would enjoy a standing desk, right? Or would a kapha enjoy a standing desk?
I don't know.
Well, I think you would enjoy
A pitta would like to do squats while doing
well,
work.
So I think like, a pitta would enjoy a yoga ball.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You know what? I should know that. That's what
chair.
Mike does. That's actually his office chair. I
Yeah.
should have known the
And
answer to
a
that one.
kapha might enjoy a standing desk with the option of like coming down when
Yeah.
you hurt,
Yeah.
know?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
I would like
chilling.
that.
I
On a
just-
big
yeah.
squishy
Yeah.
something,
Like an
Yeah.
cozy, and
Yeah.
Like
like
an anti-fatigue mat, you can stand
Yeah.
barefoot.
You're not wrong because I transfer from my kitchen island and I stand and work there, and then when
Mhm.
I'm tired, I go sit on the couch with my laptop.
at least.
Yeah,
Kevin
I know,
Lewis,
I
check
know.
You, out.
You are
Yeah.
you might be all three. Maybe you
I-
are
I-
the
She is
unicorn.
out.
I might be, because what's so funny? I love, like, we always had standing desks. I remember advocating for a standing desk. Finally had one, and I would switch from standing to sitting all the time.
Okay.
And the same with like, had the yoga ball as a chair. It was okay, but didn't have that back support.
Right.
So, but when I was on the standing desk, my shoes weren't that comfortable. I would stand on my anti-fatigue mat barefoot.
Oh, I feel like that's a kapha thing.
Grounded.
Yeah, grounded.
Yeah, you've got to have some kapha energy.
Or you were Vata and you were like, I need to ground myself.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Who
Probably,
knows?
yeah, I would close my office door and meditate when I felt overwhelmed. I would just be like, I need a minute, and I would sit or close the door, like listen to music, rage dance, or come back to my.
Oh, that sounds very Vata, right? Doesn't it?
Meditation.
So, but that's true. So with the Vata, their energy is up and it's moving like it's and Pitta. It's hard to sit still.
Yeah,
it's hard to sit still. Yeah. And so taking that's one of the really good points here is that realizing that because as Lindsay said, there's all these things about, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Well, it doesn't mean that's what your body's craving. It means that's what you work best at, but life happens. Yeah. Just like we're not really born to love Doritos, right?
But who doesn't?
I love some Doritos. I love some Doritos. And if I eat a bunch of Doritos, guess what my body wants? It wants Doritos. Yeah. So, here you go. Here I go. Do I have a crispy cracker situation going on again?
It's all right. It's all right.
So. But I'm not mad about it. I love a Dorito too. So anyway, the more you do something, the more your body craves it. So if you are Vata energy and you're flighty, like for me, I'm lately, it's better now that I've been back from vacation, or even like when I went on vacation, because I went home, so it just like my soul was just at peace. But before that, I was really up, just really I couldn't ground myself no matter what. And so the last thing I wanted to do was, of course I do yoga every day, but the last thing I wanted to do was be calm and sit and meditate. And I would literally say, I know that 5 minutes of meditation is going to make me feel better, and I'm not going to do it anyway. I'm not doing it. And then I'd, sometimes be like, all right, yeah, I'm actually going to do it. Okay. So, and then you do Pitta. It. Yeah, so my Vata energy is like, okay. And so, and so now I'm trying to transition myself out of this Vata energy back into my home, which is Pitta. Okay. And we all have, like, if we do this questionnaire, it's not like you're not going to mark something from all three columns, right? We all are a makeup of, but we've got some really like prominent. Usually one is more than the other two, and then there's a middle, and then there's the one that's not so prominent. So we all have all the qualities and the characteristics and all that in us, but it's really coming back to how did I feel? Like if I think back on me growing up, I was a chubby little blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid. So it makes sense that I probably, even just thinking about that, I probably wasn't Vata. Like I'm chubby and I'm blonde and I'm blue-eyed, big blue eyes. Yeah, exactly. Kapha and then Pitta. Yeah. So when I think back on that or see pictures of me and my cheeks, like I did not grow into my cheeks until I was like 30. It's weird, but that's happening with my daughter. That's happening with my son. Like, hey, that's what we got the cheeks. But
easy for the pinching. You just pinch the cheeks.
Exactly. So, and then I think about now, like, okay, I have nervous energy. I can't sit still. My mind is racing all the time. How many times do we wake up at, or maybe this is just me, wake up at 3 a.m. and your mind's racing? That's Vata. That's the Vata time of day. That's Vata energy. So that's where it came into like, no, we're not going to get up at these hours and be awake at this time. That's when it's going to make more sense to try to sleep because we don't, because if you wake up, then your mind's going to be racing. But potentially, if you're, not everybody, but so.
Yeah. I love that. And as we like figure out what we are and we put those tools in our kit bag, because it's like you're connecting everything. You're connecting like the diet with the body and the mind, right? So you're connecting it all. Yeah. And it's like this just beautiful recipe, and then recipe for disaster, but when you get it together, right, it's not quote unquote another diet. You know what I'm saying? Because you are focusing on food to a degree, but that's only like one bucket and one, and you've got all the different buckets And it's just it sounds like just
So
such
many
like a
buckets.
beautiful, gentle way in how you describe it. It just doing a little bit at a time to kind of thread the needle and to find, what threads well through your own unique tapestry. It seems like not hokey. Doesn't seem daunting. It
Right.
seems like it's easy. It sounds easy. Like I'm like, oh, I could do that one thing. I could not have a salad and cook some vegetables. I'm like,
Sure.
oh, I could sleep in, or whatever it is, whatever the cocktail was. Like I'm like,
Right.
oh, I could do that one thing and add that one thing in this week, and then maybe add another one thing in to
Right.
till you kind of get back.
Yeah, it's
And
really.
then I feel like you're not gaslighting yourself. I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
right?
no,
Like
you didn't.
because you're not like saying like, oh, I should be doing this because it's like
Because
that's what everybody's.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, and you're getting gaslit by the society, but maybe gaslit also by yourself.
And it gets you into that like negative self-talk, which you don't want to get into. Like, oh, I should have did this, versus being like, you know what, I know like my body doesn't tolerate fruit, but this watermelon tastes really good, so I'm gonna eat this watermelon and be okay with it. And yeah, but I think it's so beautiful because you're helping us. I think with this, it's like, yes, we're all unique, and the doshas break it down, and we're we can be a mix of one or two or three, and it helps us realize like we're all trying to figure out life, but this is a very beautiful way to help us identify
Absolutely. And
how unique we all are. And some things work for one person. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't. I'm just like,
yeah, some things work for one person that may not work for another one, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that's how your
everything's right about you.
Just
you got to figure what that is.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, everything's right about you. And we're just figuring out what's right.
Right.
Oh, that's
it's all there.
That's a great way to
Like
say
how many
it.
times another cliche, everything you have that you need is inside of you. Like, what does that even mean? Well, it means like with self-study, with svadhyaya, self-study, we can bring awareness. We just start to be aware of ourselves. We study. And then when you are in concert with nature, like what? Did I just give myself chills? I do believe so. But yeah, like just now we're in concert with nature, or we're going towards that, and so we'll just work with nature cycles. So it's cold, it's winter time, and so we are going to eat warm foods, right? Because it's cold and light, not physically light, because we know it's dark, but in the winter it's cold, it's heavy with the snow, it's like I'm from Colorado, so I keep bringing the snow, and I understand. We are here.
I'm from New Mexico. I think about green chili stew season when it gets cold.
And typically we're not like in the summer. Now I do crave green chili stew in the summer because I'm the weirdo, because I love some green chili stew.
Yeah.
But typically we are not in the throes of summer heat, sweating and dying, saying, oh, I cannot wait to go make some green chili stew. Like typically that's just not what your body craves. So if we slow down and again, self-study and okay, what am I craving? You don't know? Okay, we'll just sit and just try to listen. And that's hard, right? So we're going to do our best. And it's like in yoga, right? Same thing here. Like we're trying to listen to ourselves, and sometimes there's so much monkey mind, chitta vritti, so much chatter in the head that we're just like, I don't know, I can't pay attention. I don't know. And that's okay. Then we just try again in a little while, but we don't give up on ourselves. And so, that's what I'm here for. And I would assume any Ayurvedic nutritionist or any kind of wellness or holistic helper is here so you have support, and so I don't know if I ever finished what a visit might look like. So let me just recap really quickly, because I'm notorious for like in a week I'll call you and be like, oh, Elise, remember? Here's the rest of that story.
Oh my God, I do the same thing. I'll come up to somebody like mid conversation in my head, and they're looking at me, what are you talking about? I was like, oh. This conversation we talked about 2 days ago.
Yeah. Keep up. Yeah, but so we were talking about here's all the options, and then so also in studio, office, Zoom, wherever we're meeting, we might go through some yoga, we might go through some meditation or breath work. We might go through some Reiki. We might do a little bit of Reiki, or start to just, do any other practices that just seem like they would be helpful today. And also, I would give the tools to you to, obviously, if you're not attuned to do Reiki, then that's not going to help too much. But I'll give you some tools, some breath work. Usually there's some kind of homework, not in a terrible kind of homework way, but just a self-help way. Rather, it's like, take 1 minute. I used to tell people, they would be like, Jody, I cannot meditate. I'm like, me neither. Good for you. Good for me. I've learned, set a timer for 2 minutes. Like, who says meditation has to be for an hour or for 20 minutes?
Yeah, it can be for less than 5 minutes.
And that meditation can be just literally paying attention to what your breath is doing. And so, which also could be a lot. So I'm not even making light of that, right? But 2 minutes or 1 minute of paying attention. Can you set your timer on your watch or whatever for 1 or 2 minutes and breathe? You'll start to hear your body tell you what it needs, or tell you, I like this or don't like it. You'll start to pay attention, and you'll start to get some answers. But I'll give you some tips to, we'll come up with a plan, to, activity plan, we'll talk about food combining, we'll talk about menus, we'll talk about, I can help come up with menus, like full-blown weekly menus if that's what you need, or just say, hey, maybe you could try to either weed this out or weed this in, and other stuff will start to potentially weed out. So,
and that's from your nutritional background, right?
Yeah, and Ayurveda too. Okay. I mean, yeah, absolutely, because you're right, and health coaching and all that. So it's it's very much about, in my health coaching training, it was all about crowding out. The teachers talked a lot about crowding out. So don't think like, I can't have that cheesecake. Think like, okay, well, I'm going to have my greens, or have my whatever's nourishing for my body. And then if my body feels like having that cheesecake, cool, have the cheesecake. If you really want it. Sometimes you'll be surprised that after you're taking care of yourself really in a mindful way, meaning the whole piece, right? Your relationships in life, with yourself, with others, your environment that you are living in, keeping that in a way that's healthy for you, whatever that means, in your food and your, habits. As you start to get all that, pay attention and get all that on track, how you really
so the cravings subside, right?
The cravings go.
Because sometimes they're emotional cravings.
Yeah.
And
just habitual.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And they can be fed sometimes different ways. But being kind to yourself and just letting it do its thing, like.
Because the kinder you are to yourself, right, the kinder you can be in all your other relationships. Because how many times do you hear like, oh, this, and me, I'm not excluded from this, can go and take care of people, help people, help friends, be there, a rock, and then you are depleted and you've got nothing left for yourself. I mean, that is a very common story, right? Like, I don't think I'm alone in that. I think I'm in really good company with that, actually. So it's really about taking care. It's kind of funny, but I always think about like on the airplane where they're like, okay, in case of a crash, put your mask on first. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Also, like, if there's a little baby there, are you going to do that? Are you not going to take care of the, you better, or you're not going to be breathing to help that baby. That really put it into perspective. Like, okay, thanks, flight attendant, for just putting my whole life into perspective just now with that. Appreciate it. So, and then maybe once we go on our way, once our visit is finished, it doesn't mean we're done. We can set up more visits. We can set up check-in times. It could be a one and done if that's what you're thinking and wanting. It's really whatever the person wants. And if you're like, I just need to come see you once and get on track, okay. Then you might notice a little bit later in the future, you might be craving a little more information, or maybe you take it and run with it. So, but yeah, that's what I do.
Nice. Do you offer workshops, or would you ever put on an Ayurvedic workshop?
Yeah, I would. Lindsay, I think Lindsay and I are.
Oh yeah, we're scheduling one in the fall.
Yeah. Yep.
Date TBD.
Yeah, because I would definitely come to a workshop just to learn more about, especially like you talked about like meals and stuff like that, and figuring out like what foods work for you, what foods don't. Because being in my 30s, I've learned foods I used to eat do not work for me anymore. Like I think I'm now allergic to hot fries. Like like hot fries and hot Cheetos would be like my comfort food or my focus food.
Were you saying you're pitta?
Yeah.
So that hot, fiery food is
and
like, nah, girl,
You can't
now
eat
it's
spicy
like,
food
no,
yet.
it's horrible. I'm like,
I used to eat mustard, like just whatever, mustard with whatever, right? A hot dog or what, I don't know. And I would get so hot from mustard, and I'm like, what is going on? And like I'm sweating from mustard.
Hot,
and it's okay. I'm pitta, so it doesn't. So it makes a lot of sense now that I know. But back then, I was like,
see, Mike just doesn't care. He loves spicy food.
I do too.
And he eats it and he sweats. He's like, nope, this is my life now.
Exactly, right?
He has
and so
accepted
he knows
his fate.
It's so great.
And so whatever,
it's some spicy like pho, it like clears out your. If I was sick, I would get some pho, spicy pho, because you could just feel like the mucus coming out and draining out your spine. Oh, it's the best.
So pitta doesn't do good with spice, or we make ourselves do good with it.
Yeah.
Or like hot yoga.
Oh yeah, he
tough
hates hot yoga.
Yeah,
too.
it's because you get hot and you get aggravated, or me anyway, get hot and aggravated and just kind of pissy, But so you're talking about earlier, like, oh yeah, I'm pitta, and then you're talking about like hot fries don't work for me. Like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Maybe. I love hot yoga though, but teaching it's like been difficult because it's so hot, and like I'll finish my hot yoga class teaching it, and I'm drenched in sweat. And I was just teaching it.
It's impossible not to be, in my opinion, because you're in that heat, in that humidity period.
And you can't engage like the breathing exercises you could if you were a student versus as a teacher, because you're just constantly talking.
And you gotta be so mindful of everybody and Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm pitta. Like I'm in the pitta era.
Love it.
I'm just so hot and sweaty and certain spices don't do well for my stomach anymore, which is really sad.
Yeah, so a visit would talk about that. Like there are spices that work, like kind of, I hate to say to stay away from, but some that really just don't work for certain constitutions, spices and foods and, food combining just in general and all that. So those are things we could work out. But yeah, like in our workshop that we're working on right now, we'll touch on a lot of that.
Yeah, I think it's good to like because like as we get older and our body's changing, it's good to like know like what dosha we align with. And
right.
You used to think, you could handle this, but now you can't. It's like what's going on. It's amazing. Well, anything about Ayurveda you want to touch on? Anything else about Ayurveda?
I feel like that was a pretty good overhaul, whatever that means. I don't know. Idea.
Well, this is a beautiful part one.
I know,
of our Jody interview.
We're gonna have to talk about Reiki for a different time because we
took that and ran.
Yeah, we did. That was great. Yeah.
So stay tuned for part 2 of our Jody interview.
All right. Well, thanks for being on Let's Talk About It with us, Jody. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys all in the interspace.
Oh, wait. Where can people find you, Jody, if for Ayurveda
So
practice?
At the studio, Stanford Yoga and Community Center, the website. Also, my email is yogajody, YOGAJODY @gmail.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll catch you next time on